another exciting learning experience initiated from Division B. I am Dr. Abdul Sattar, the surgeon at arms for today's session. Let me first of all congratulate the new XCOM of District 105. Can you all give a big round of applause, please? In the form of reactions, in the form of physical applauses. Thank you very much. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Today, we are gathered here with a new energy in air. We are at the crossroads of transitional phase as per the Toastmaster calendar. Transition from the old leaders to new leaders. The learned leaders giving way for the new leaders to emerge. Just like an annual renewal process. Wishing the best for the great educational and leadership journey. Welcome to Leading with Purpose by your own International President, Distinguished Toastmaster Mohammed Murad. Before we go further, let me give you a few etiquettes and let us share the Toastmaster mission. Toastmaster International Mission, we empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. The district mission, we build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. The club mission, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. When the speakers are speaking, all the audio and the video is stopped. Please access the chat if you need any assistance from the host. Chat is open only for the host. Few basic rules. I'm sure you all know about the taboo topics, politics, religion, and sex. And please make sure your mobile phone is in vibration or silence mode. Few tips on how to run through the Zoom application. You can see the few tools around. You can unmute and mute the sound on the left down there, and you can put on the video and cancel the video in this, just next to the audio. And you can use the speaker view or the gallery view on the right upper corner. And if you want to applause or show a thumbs up, you can use reactions. And if you decide to leave the meeting, you can always use the end button. With this, let me go to the next step of welcoming. To take the session further, let me introduce someone who is a Toastmaster since 5 years. He's a winner of Division B Table Topics contest last year. His home club is DSO Toastmasters Club. More than the accolades he has in Toastmasters, he's a person who is ever smiling, approachable, and down to earth. He's a corporate trainer, a karate black belt, dedicated and daring DD of Division B, Distinguished Toastmaster Vinod Panikar. Over to you, Didi.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abdul Sattar, for that wonderful introduction. As DTM Robin always says, the best thing in Toastmaster is you always get very good introduction. So Patricia Fripp, one of the keynote speakers and well known in Toastmasters fraternity, says that in a speech contest, your last words linger. That means it has the most impact. If I take her words and apply that to leadership, I will say that your last work matters. So as a division team, this is the last phase that we have as a team. And the most important phase, I will not say that as a division director, my work has finished. I will just say the most important task has just started. And that is the transition phase. And this phase, the way we do this, The way we close our year is the way that the next division director elect is going to start the year. Not only for the division, right from the club level, we are ensuring that the transition happens in a very smooth way, and the next XCOM, club, area, division, all of Division B are given into good hands and given proper training. So first, let me share my screen. And congratulate the elected district trio of District 105, the elect Division Director DTM Nelson, the elect PQD DTM Gurvinder Pun, and the elect Club Growth Director DTM Rania. From the entire Division B team, a big congratulations and best wishes for the year ahead. And not only for the one of the biggest district in this world, to all the 14 division directors who were elected yesterday by the division, by the district council. A big congratulations to each and everyone. And I personally had invited all of them to attend this wonderful session, because the person who is going to give this education session is very special. Every time I listen to him, I take home something and I apply, and it has changed my journey, leadership journey. So officially, I will not be welcoming all of you. Today, officially, the elect division director of Division B will welcoming you all. So I give this stage officially to our elect Division B director, Toastmaster Harish Krishnan. Over to you, Harish.
Thank you, Vinod. Welcome to Division B. I would say the division that never sleeps. Welcome to yet another interesting session from Division B. I am really humbled by the sheer support and wishes I have received in the person from many of you during the course and after the election. As a Division B Director-elect 2021, I am quite aware about the fact that I have a big shoe to fill. We are currently blessed with a star DD who is a trainer, pathways guru, and a very motivating personality. But at this moment, I assure you that I will never spare any efforts in taking our division, mother of many divisions, to a greater heights. Again, as a director-elect, my vision is to lead all our dear clubs under Division B by facilitating relevant and timely guidance and training, and also to focus on identifying and developing more leaders. I also would like to take this opportunity to request your wholehearted support to this new Division B leadership and the rest of the leaders who have been selected or elected, so that all can learn and grow together. Coming back to today's agenda. Today's agenda will be a 40-minute session by the main person who is there today, followed by a 30 minutes Q&A by our current District 105 PR manager. Now, we have with us today our District Director, DTM Robin Anand. May I request him on the screen to share a few words as your message to this initiative. Please join your hands to welcome DTM Robin Anand.
Good afternoon, Division B and the new Division Director-elect, Toastmaster Harish Krishnan. It's wonderful to see the transition already. I'm amazed that Vinod was so quick. I think the elections just happened yesterday. So Harish, he is not only quick, he's also smart. So you be ready. You are doing 45 days extra work. But believe me, I think today's session is so important because we've just got a new set of leaders who've just been elected, and they are looking forward to some messages which can help them in their journey forward. And who better than distinguished Toastmaster, past international president, and our present parliamentarian, distinguished Toastmaster Mohammed Murad. So I think we are extremely lucky to have him. And I think we have a lot of fans from outside our district who have come to watch him. So we are really privileged to have him in our district, and it is really, really good of Division B to organize this very timely, because today we have the entire district looking up to people, who can inspire them and give them some motivational messages, because we are all going through a crisis. So all the best and fantastic effort, and kudos to all of you, and all the best to you, Harish.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Do we have DTM Gurbinder Pun with us today, Sharon?
Yes.
Okay.
I have unmuted him. Yes.
Okay. We also have today with us another star who has humor as his middle name. He's our current CGD and PQD elect 2021. We would also request him to give his message for this initiative. Please join your hands to welcome DTM Gurbinder Pun.
Thank you, Harish. Sorry, I was not prepared. As Ravan said, this is a very table topic message. And so my message is, thank you very much for inviting me. And did I tell you guys that I love you, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, I do. Thank you very much. Please carry on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We also have with us today Region 11 Advisor-elect, DTM Sunil Kotarathil. May I request you also on the screen, sir, to share a few words? Sharon, can you help?
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute him, but he's not responding.
Okay, then we can take it to the last of the session, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Our division truly believes in continuously providing value to its subjects, which is our members. For that today, we have a great personality to impart us with his wisdom and to invite. We have a celebrity who is among us, who is none other than our District 105's own PQD, and more importantly, our District Director-elect 2021. Please join your hands to welcome PQD DD-elect DTM Nelson Meneses on the screen, please. Yes. Over to you, sir.
Members of Division B, the division who never sleeps, mother of the all divisions, a fabulous initiative to conduct this session. And I am here to congratulate you all and thank you for the support which we have received throughout this year. Our DD brother Vinod, to our incoming Division B Director-elect Harish, to all dignitaries, DD Robin, CGD Gurbinder, CGD-elect Rania, and to everybody present, a warm good afternoon. I'm here to introduce our guest speaker today, a person who's an inspiration to each one of us. Honestly, it gives me immense pride and joy to introduce him. He started his Toastmaster journey way back in 1996, and since then, he has served Toastmasters at various leadership levels. But most importantly, he has touched the life of people, not only to us here in UAE, but most importantly, to people around the world. We were so proud that in 2014 and 2015, he served as the international president of Toastmasters International. He believes whatever happens, happens for a reason. It is none of your business as well. All we need to do is work hard, and the fruits of sharpening your saw will fold naturally. Today, I'm mighty thankful to distinguished Toastmaster Mohammed Murad to be our guide, our motivator, and inspiring, humble human being who really inspires me and most of us. I feel every Toastmaster in UAE is inspired by his talks, by his wisdom, and more importantly, his support and guidance. Today, he serves our District 105 as our parliamentarian. Let's all join together to invite our guest speaker, a person, an inspiration to us, someone we always look up to, distinguished Toastmaster, our past international president, distinguished Toastmaster Mohammed Murad, with a thundering round of applause.
Thank you, Nelson, fellow Toastmasters. First of all, congratulations to all the people who were elected in a very well-run council meeting yesterday, and it shows that the preparation behind the council meeting has gone beyond expectations. This is why it finished efficiently, and it also speaks to the team that has been working around the clock, making sure that simple experience of 3 hours was successful. And if we actually take these 3 hours as an example of leading with purpose, there will be no need for me to talk within this session, because everything is inculcated in what the leaders have done in order to make the event successful. And once I say that, it becomes very clear for everyone that there is a purpose for everything that we do. And whether it's events or goals that we have, purpose is always there. Therefore, whenever I was thinking about the points I would like to put forward to you for consideration, and by the way, there is no perfect way of leading with purpose, because every single situation is different than the other. So there is no such template for us to apply whenever we're leading with purpose. And whenever we say we are leading with purpose, it actually means that we are leading, because leading without a purpose does not exist. Therefore, leadership is synonymous with having a purpose. But for us to have a better understanding, probably this session is not giving you the template and not giving you a way forward, because you will find out sooner or later, especially the new elected officers, congratulations on being elected, that last year's way will not work. And last year's dynamics is different than this year. And last year's people are different than this year's people. Although there are some of you who are very familiar to the people who are leading, but it's a totally different thing, because there are different roles that are being assumed and different dynamics that come in. But before that, let me just shed some light on what are the directions of leadership. And it's important for us to understand that leadership has no single direction. Whenever we talk and we think about leadership, we say we are leading our followers. Yet, if you really understand the purpose of leadership, then you will understand that leadership has many directions. And I will share with you the screen. I'll be sharing on and off the screen so that you have a visual of what we're talking about, and then we'll be talking about them. Let me just share the screen. So the fact of the matter is that there are many directions of leadership. And if I ask you, what do you think I mean with the directions of leadership? Any ideas of what are the directions of leadership? And again, there are many aspects of directions, but for me, for you to understand that you are leading with a purpose, you will need to understand that there is leadership upwards. In other words, that you are actually leading not only your followers, but you are leading the people who are above you in the hierarchy or below you in our Toastmasters organization perspective in the hierarchy. So whenever we talk about leading, and here we have our current division director and the elected division director, they are not only leading the people who are below them in hierarchy. They are also leading the district officers because their actions will affect the district officers, however big or small, but nevertheless, there is a purpose for the division directors to lead the district officers also. Why? Very simple. Because they need to fulfill their goals. And therefore, they need to direct attention, focus, and probably actions of the people who are above them also, not only the people who are under them. Another direction, which is a very common one, is leading downwards. And here the purpose, it's fascinating to see that the purpose does not change. In whatever direction you are going, the purpose is exactly the same. If you are within a team environment and you are part of a group of people, then whether it's or leading upwards, leading downwards, the purpose should not change. Now, if the purpose changes, then leadership has got no purpose. If you have a separate purpose for leading upwards and you have a separate purpose of leading downwards, you have no purpose. Therefore, you are not a successful leader. You may stay a leader nevertheless, but you will not be successful. So it's important for us to align the purpose that we have to go all across in all directions. Now, the third direction that leadership goes, that it goes sideways. And it's important for us to understand that upwards and downwards can become sideways. How? It's about the perspective of the person in the middle of this leadership cycle of how they perceive the purpose and how they perceive leadership. I was asked a question, I think Vinod was there in one of the sessions that we did for India, one of the divisions in India, and they said, would you lead from the front or would you lead from the back And my answer is that you need to lead from the middle. You need to understand that the purpose of everyone around you is the same. Therefore, you need to be among them in order for them to be comfortable with you. And how do you do that? It's very simple. You align and sync the purpose for everyone around you. One of the exercises we do is understanding the definition of leadership. And here, it's no different in the purpose. The purpose needs to be the same for everyone. And there are many times that we come across leaders who have a purpose of having the title for a certain period of time. And they come across, or they stand out from the whole crowd simply because their purpose is not aligned. And we do not want people like them to be part of our leadership journey. Therefore, it's important for us to call out the purpose of the people who are with us in order for us to be in sync. So you have directions of leadership is all over, by the way. And it's, you know, if you map your interaction once, let's say, the new team comes into play, and each and every one of us maps the interaction that we have, taking into consideration these three directions. And if you map the interaction with timing, you will see that it's going haywire. And that is fine as long as we understand that the directions are all about our leadership journey, and it's all about having the same purpose in order for us to become successful. And if we drive this through from the beginning of our term, as a division, as a district, you are going to do fine. Now, we have a lot of types of people that we need to understand are among us in order for us to understand how to lead with a purpose and how to lead a group of people without being bogged down by certain types of people, because we have our own type, and it's always preferred for us to deal with people whom are of similar thoughts. Unfortunately, that is not the case many times. It's not possible to have similar type of people, behavioral types of people within our team. Therefore, we need to understand what are the different types of people that are available, and what different types of leaders they are, because they are all leaders, by the way, in order for us to sync the purpose. Again, we go back and back again on saying that the purpose is the most important thing in order for us to become successful leaders. Now, Harvard Business Review had done a study about the types of leaders that there are. And it's fascinating when I compared the people I know within my team and within the district also, into comparing them with these types of people. And it's fascinating to see how different people fall into different categories, and the need for us to deal with them separately while keeping the purpose aligned. Now, the first type of people are the charismatics, right? And in the survey that Harvard Business Review did, they found out that 25% of the people that they interviewed are charismatics. So 1/4 of the people whom they interviewed are charismatics. And what or how these people are? These people are the type of people whom people look up to through their behavior, through their discussions, through their presence, and probably other aspects which are very visual, their body physique, the type of clothing they wear. So basically people look up to them and they understand that they are people to look up to for inspiration. And by the way, if we go back to the directions of leadership, it's not necessary that someone needs to be up there in order for someone to be inspired. And I'll be frank with you, I am inspired by many of the people who have I have interacted with in the district, whom look up to me, but I am inspired by them. And I will not mention names because I might miss out someone and it might not come across, but I have a lot of them, specifically the district officers and division and area directors that I watch from time and then, and those people are on the majority charismatic. And who should we look for whenever we are electing? Probably they would be the people who are charismatic in the first place. Although these types of people that we will be talking about could be available in different percentages in the same people. So first are the charismatics. The second type of people are those who are thinkers. And those thinkers are probably ones who have a lot of introspection into things. But nevertheless, those people delay making decisions. So they have a lot of questions and they give a lot of thought. They might say that we need time to think about it in order for me to give you an overview or to give you my insight or to give you a decision. They are thinkers. And nevertheless, and if you look at the purpose of the charismatics and the thinkers, they are the same. They want to achieve the same thing. Probably time of achieving our goals or their goals would be different just because they are that type of people. So thinkers is the second type, and the third type is skeptics. And let me ask you, have you ever had anyone who is skeptic in your team? And just think of what those people are like. From the name itself, they are always skeptical that something might go wrong, that something is not right. Opinions about people who are working with them might be a bit distorted. But nevertheless, they are also, or we need to make sure that they are with the same purpose. And this is, the types of people that are there, they are not doing this purposely. You need to understand that they are not doing this purposely. They are what they are, and it's up to us to highlight the purpose in front of them and lead them through into making sure that we understand where you are coming from, but we need to focus on the purpose. So the skeptics are easily dealt with when the brighter side of things are shown to them in a more realistic way. Because the skeptics are more on the imaginary side of things. And if we show them reality in a subtle way, that is very important, they will be able to come back to the purpose and join us in making sure that our goals are fulfilled and that their leadership journey is going to be even better. The fourth type of people are followers. And these are 36% of the people that predominantly we deal with. And these percentages could go up and down depending on different cultures and different dynamics. But predominantly, these percentages are accurate in most of teams and leadership opportunities. So these followers are always inspired, specifically if you are the charismatic type. They are inspired and they follow instructions and they look for instructions to be given to them. And instructions might be a bit more managerial, but they look for inspiration and information in order for them to act upon. So the more information we give them, the more we educate them, the more we inform them where are we in the track of fulfilling our goals, the more interactive that they will have, the more information we give them about our purpose, the more interactive they will be within the team. And the fifth type is controllers. And controllers are the types who probably have the most distortion of what the purpose is. Because if they understand the purpose, they will understand that it's everyone's responsibility to achieve the purpose and achieve the goals. Unfortunately, these controllers manipulate, therefore they lose out on the opportunity of keeping the purpose. They might have separate purposes, even if they have the same purpose, their ways are driving people away from them rather than bring them into the teams. So controllers will need to be dealt with in a way that will highlight the importance of teamwork. It will highlight, we need to highlight to them the importance of delegating, the importance of making sure that the collective decision is what will make the team successful. And probably, a very good example of this is whenever someone is running the council meeting. I was witness to one of the council meetings, not ours, some other district, and the person who was running the meeting, the council meeting, told me, I feel that I am a dictator. Therefore, she felt that she is a controller, and just by this comment, it shows that the person was not a controller. But there are others who will come in and we will make sure that everyone is instructed to do whatever they want to do, rather than informing them what they need to do and say that you are in charge. And this is specifically what that person had done. So perspective of someone of actually understanding that they are controllers, or people who do not want to be controllers, it's totally different. And it's fascinating to see how these two people interact with each other. And there is a common ground in the middle that they need to come to. The fact of the matter is that the controllers will need to understand that this is their type. And if they are always aware of it, and they learn to let go of control with a perspective that there are other people that they can trust, that is what will make them become a better team member, better leader, and have a better purpose. So it's trust, letting them know that they can trust others is what will make them better team members and leaders with a better purpose. Okay. So I will share with you the 10 best practices. I'm not sure how are we doing with time. Do we have a timer here?
I'm giving the time. We have another 20 minutes more.
20 minutes from the 40 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So I'll share with you 10 best practices of exceptional leaders. And again, when we talk about leaders, we talk about leaders who are leaders with a purpose, because without a purpose, there will be no leadership. Doing what is right. Probably a sentence that is or needs to be a norm, but there are sometimes where right is perceived in the wrong manner within some of the leaders. So whenever, if we underline the word right, we need to understand that it needs to be right for all, not right for the single person. I will repeat, it should be right for all, not for the individual. And probably, again, going back to what is the purpose. We always mention the mission, right? Our district director-elect yesterday in the council meeting repeated the mission statement of the district. And it was simply build new clubs and support all clubs to achieve excellence, right? So anything that goes outside this, and this is what I urge everyone to do, especially the new elected division officers. What I always tell people to do is ask themselves whether this is the right thing and whether it will serve the member, right? So doing what is right always needs to be what is best for the member. Not what is best for the district, not what's best for the division, but what is best for the member. So what is right for all and not what is right for the individual. And the individual could be an entity, which is the district, the division, even the club. So we need to go down to the end of the ladder in order for us to understand whether it is right or not. And this is probably what we had done in the board of directors. Whenever we were taking decisions, we needed to ask ourselves, what's in it for the member? Does it relate to the member, or it's for some other aspect of the organization, whether it's structure or different levels? But then it needed to trickle down to the member in order for us to deem it as something which was right. Being positive. We are in the COVID-19 era. And the first few days, and let me tell you, I have never, ever sat at home for more than 2 days. So when the lockdown came, it was hard-hitting for me. How can I not go out and do something? And then the days came by, and a lot of reflection went into what was happening. And this was the time that I realized that there is nothing I can do about it. And if there is nothing I can do about it, I need to stay positive in order for me to survive. So whenever you have hurdles coming up, and I'm sure the district has gone through this hurdle, looking at clubs and so on for this time of year and pandemic. If we had not stayed positive, if we had not shifted online in record time, if everyone said that we are giving up, would the purpose have been served? Not at all. So being positive means that we need to understand, and this is preparation, by the way. Being positive is not situational. If something happens now, I need to stay positive. Being positive means I need to prepare. I need to understand, what if this happens? How will I deal with it? And I need to prepare mentally that whatever comes, there will be a solution for it, and there will be light at the end of the tunnel. Take any leader that has been exposed to hardship. And leaders never come out as leaders unless they go through hardships, by the way. It's them being positive that will make them come through. Has anyone faced someone with ego? Yeah, I have come with a couple of people who have had ego, and the most important thing is not to keep other people's ego in mind, because that is when you become disoriented, distorted, and lose sense of direction. So my advice to you is, do not be affected by other people's ego, rather than you staying the course by keeping your ego in check. And we all have egos, by the way. We all want to fulfill things for one purpose or the other, and we all think that we know or have a certain level of knowledge. We all know that we are, or we need to be in power when it comes to family, and you are the head of the family, so the ego comes in. The important aspect is that you keep the ego in check, is not eliminating ego, because that will not happen at all, never happen. We will always have the ego, but it's keeping the ego in check by reminding us of what the purpose is what will make us exceptional leaders. So keep our ego in check. You eliminate contention in your workforce, within your team. So eliminating it is different than removing it. Because if you remove it, it was there. Therefore, we go back to what we always have said in teams, is that the beginning is very important for us to make a situational analysis and make sure that the negatives are eliminated from the beginning. Promote a fertile work environment. And I don't think I could preach this point at all to Toastmasters, because within the club environment, within the area, division, district, the organization as a whole, we create this environment through recognition, through making sure that we have plans, through understanding that motivation and feedback is what will make us successful. And it all goes back to purpose. We have a purpose. We make the environment fertile for us to serve the purpose. We need to train employees, team members, and encourage learning. Knowledge is something that is of paramount importance. And let me talk about this for a little while. Is you need to understand that learning is one of the most important aspects of you being successful and your team being successful. And I will take the example of this year's district term. And if I ask Robin, for instance, or Gurvinder and Nelson, would you have done the year, what you have done in the year, the same way that you would have done it knowing what you know right now? I am pretty sure that the answer is no. There are some things that we are going to be doing differently simply because they learned. They learned through experience, and they learned through asking others of their experience, past district directors, past division directors, asking international directors, region advisors of what could be done better. Now, training is one of the most important aspects of what Toastmasters International is all about, right? We need to train them in order for them to learn how to deal with situations. Train them to understand what our purpose is. Train them to understand the mechanics and the processes that we need to follow in order for us to achieve our purpose. So it's important for us to make our environment a learning environment, and we start with ourselves, of course. There is no way we can preach people to learn while we are not learning, so we need to learn, and there is a nice aspect of learning that probably Les Brown had talked about, and that was about the need to unlearn. So we don't need to learn only, we need to learn, unlearn, and then learn again. So the next aspect is to nurture your people. And if we look at the two other points above them, that is where we understand that it's nurturing our people that will make our teams successful. Reward is something that is of paramount importance, and reward is something that Toastmasters International also promotes in terms of recognition, and that brings us back to the purpose. If we have fulfilled the purpose, then the people are rewarded. And probably there are interim periods that rewards needs to be there. For instance, our interim programs that are there for recognition. A safe and pleasant workplace. Now, believe it or not, our clubs are workplaces. Our districts are workplaces. And if we can apply the same principles of making it pleasant, people are going to be more than happy to participate. We need to have discipline, and this is probably something that comes at the end, but it is important that we keep in mind that there has to be discipline. But the fact is that discipline needs to be clear, and it needs to be with compassion. So we talked about controllers. Controllers, most of the time, apply discipline, but do not have compassion in their actions. And they do not clarify why discipline is happening. But for any leader to be successful, they will need to apply discipline to their work and to the work of the people who are expected to achieve their purposes for the bigger purpose. Now, the last aspect is how do you become a purposeful leader? It starts with being curious. You need to have relentless curiosity into what can become better, what is happening, what or how can I make people better. And unless you have these receptors going all over, it's not possible for you to become a good leader. So curiosity is of paramount importance. And with curiosity comes listening effectively. Now, we are a communication and leadership organization, and we emphasize on speaking more than we should on listening. Therefore, in this session, I urge you to listen more than you speak, understand more than instruct. Listening effectively is one of the most important aspects of successful leaders. Honesty. Important for us to be honest, and I will compare these habits to our values. So whenever we say we need to listen effectively, that means we need to respect people. And whenever we say we need to be honest, it means we need to uphold integrity to the highest level. Be confident. Confidence is something that comes with leadership, because if you do not exude confidence, your people will not have respect for you, therefore will not follow you. Tell a story. Leaders need to be good storytellers. And that is what probably gives inspiration. That's what probably makes people understand the dynamics and or why leaders are saying what they are saying. Emphasize with facts, emphasize with stories, emphasize with experiences. That's what's important. Always address concerns. Do not delay addressing the concerns of whoever it is. But there could be sometimes that concerns are elusive, imaginary, but you need to address them. Make your voice more effective. So storytelling, if you do not have a voice that is effective in storytelling, it's not going to be that effective. So again, if you listen, you will know to look for stories and interpret these stories, tell the stories in order for you to address the concerns with a powerful voice. Show empathy, always. We talked about discipline, and there is always people who say that if you need to have discipline, then you cannot show empathy. On the contrary, you need, if you install discipline with empathy, it is going to be more effective. Lastly, find familiar ground. Find familiar ground with whoever you are interacting with. Make sure that you have a base of common purpose in order for you to be able to interact with the team and become a successful leader. That is it for me. I'll probably take questions, and I'll hand it over to whoever is moderating. Thank you.
Thank you, DTM Murad. I'm the moderator today. It's a pleasure to listen to this wonderful, needed, I think, speech and presentation, because all of us are new leaders. Some of us have been there for a long time, but still every day, every year is a learning experience. Particularly for me personally, now I'm taking a huge challenge next year, and it's always amazing to listen to your wisdom and learn from your vast experience over the years. And I ask everyone, please, if you can put your questions in the chat. And I'll start with a couple of questions, and we'll take it step by step. You've mentioned the leadership directions. And the question is, what if they say some people might not accept the upwards leadership? You find resistance sometimes, especially if the upper level are charismatic and the lower are maybe one of the followers. You see this all the time. So how can you handle this?
So is the question from a perspective of someone who is dealing with upward leadership, or
yes, yes. For example, in a leadership hierarchy, for example, at the club level,
right?
At lower offices, speaking to the president, and there's resistance, and they see there's a conflict of the purpose. It's not, and they have a point of view, but because of their probably ego, their charismatic, the character, there's a bit of resistance. There's no agreement. How to handle such a situation?
It's and there's no magic pill for this aspect, because we are all human beings. But the best thing that I would do is make the person aware of the common purpose. So if there are difficulty in interacting or making the person on the higher level understand, it's going back to the common purpose. What is our purpose? And what is each and everyone's role? I think if reminders are there of what is each and everyone's role, and taking your example into perspective of Vice President PR talking to a president, each and every one of them have got roles. And this is when I say that if we understand and we learn from the beginning what are the roles, and it's prescribed in all our manuals, and then we go back to the purpose of the club, which is making sure that the members benefit and become more confident as leaders and communicators, then it will be easier. And there are different levels. I'm not saying that it's as easy as that. There are different levels of intensity. It depends on the interaction. But if we go back to the habits, for instance, the habits will make it much easier for the interaction to be better than it would have been without understanding these. And it also pays, looking at the types of people. What type of person this upper level individual is. Is he a controller? How do we deal with controllers? We have a whole session of dealing with difficult people. So it comes with experience. It's not something that will come automatically. It will come with experience, with analyzing the type of person, what works for them, what doesn't work. But the main thing is get back to the purpose and remind people of their roles.
Okay. The second question here we have, what if the controllers are also charismatic? The followers might be lured to pick them to lead. How to handle this?
Yeah, well, nothing's wrong of someone being a controller and charismatic at the same time. And again, being a controller is not something wrong. It is the method in which they control is what makes a difference. So if we know how to deal with them, let's take it the other way around. Let's say division director has an area director who is a controller, right? It's exactly the same difficulty of dealing with a controller. But again, we need to listen, we need to be empathetic, and we need to understand or make them understand what's the common purpose and what's the best for us to be able to fulfill the purpose. So it's going back to what we are there for rather than looking at egos. And again, when people look at types of people, they think that controlling is egoistic. Not necessarily so. It's a process in which the people work. Controlling is a process of management. Does not mean that the ego is there and it will remain there. So it's looking at them differently that would make things a bit easier.
Thank you very much. The next question, what is an important thing for a leader? To influence people or to achieve a goal?
What's more important, influence a leader?
Or achieving a goal?
Influence as a leader.
As a leader, what is the most important for a leader? To influence the people around him or to achieve the goals?
Achieve the goal. Influencing the people is a way to achieve the goal. So the more important thing is the purpose. It's the goal that is important. And influencing people is the process. So which is important, the goal or the process?
This is the question. Well, they said I should ask you, since I'm taking over and I'm a lady, it says, what is the magic pill for women? Since we ladies are faced with resilience from male, it's more male dominance. So what is the magic pill for women leaders?
Yeah, well, I have this model also that I talk about in working in teams and so on. And I have this 10 points of what's different in women leadership as opposed to men. At the end, some of it is develop a thick skin, never let them see you cry, and different aspects of women characteristics. And at the end, what I tell them is that there is no difference between men and women. The only difference is that they are of different intensities, right? The behavior of women need to be more intense than what men do in order for them to come to the same level. And unfortunately, this is not a fair world. There is no magic pill. Women will need to work harder. So congratulations, you have very hard work in order to achieve the same level of men.
We need to talk about this, okay. Another question here. What one challenge in leadership you have to live with? They want you to share one of your experiences, a story that happened to you over the years.
One challenge of leadership?
Yes, that you've once faced during your leadership years.
Right. Well, maybe it's something that has come into my life and it still is going on. And it's the fact of whether I should prioritize myself or the people. And you know, if you think about it, it's a dilemma. And there are many situations that come in where you think, should I be the priority or should the people be a priority? And that's something that I have been struggling with for a big part of my life. I have not found the answer yet. But I guess it's more situational, where you are conscious enough to give priority to yourself, when to give priority to yourself, and when to prioritize people in order to balance this. It's tough for me.
Thank you. Another question, how can an ego feeling be turned into a motivation or inspiration? So how can we basically turn it into somehow motivation or inspiration? That's the question.
You cannot. It's not one thing or the other. It's understanding that you have ego, which is the most difficult thing, by the way. People who have ego probably will never understand that they have the ego unless there is something drastic that happens to them. But life experiences, I think, is one thing that would let the ego subside. And it's not, again, it's not something that has to go away in order to turn it around. The good aspects, whatever they are, could be grown while the ego is still there. And there will be a tipping point where these will override the ego, and therefore the downturn is going to be drastic.
Thank you. Another question, in an executive team environment, is there something wrong with having all mix of all types of people? I think this is normal, but this is a question. Don't you think that it's good to have someone who's a controller, another one who's a charismatic, and it will create somehow a balance in the execom environment? What's your feedback on that?
I would say if there is a balance within the same person of all of these types, that is where the team is going to work in a better way. So a balance within the individuals. So all the individuals understand that these types are there. So there will be more synergy within the team, rather than saying that, no, I want an extreme controller and I want an extreme charismatic to work together. It's more of understanding and being able to bring different types at different situations. It's like the situational leadership. You need to have all of these, but in different percentages.
Yes, and I'm sure this understanding will create this teamwork environment that will basically serve the purpose. Another question now, there's a conscious purpose and an unconscious purpose. Conscious is what they say, unconscious is what they reveal through what they do. What do you do when we see there is no alignment between the two?
Meditate. Yeah, the subconscious is again, probably ego is there somewhere in the subconscious, right? So it's being mindful that makes the conscious and subconscious come together or in sync. And there is no better way than to meditate, by the way, I'm serious. If you meditate, it's going to help you a lot.
Another question. One key take-home message which you believe TM leaders in general are lacking and you'd like to see in leaders.
Lacking where?
It's not specific here, but one quality, leadership quality that you feel it should be basically more visible in leaders nowadays. I think this is what this member is trying to say. Key take-home message which you believe TM leaders in general are lacking. So what do you think one of these important leadership qualities that leaders nowadays should basically embrace to take on the districts and the clubs and the division in the best way possible? Probably this is what you meant.
I always say our core values are an important aspect to the success of the organization. So it's not one quality. It's 4 core values that need to be present in each and every one of us and in each and every entity as a whole in order for us to be successful. And it's there predominantly, but unfortunately there are some places where they lack.
Okay, one question here. In the present mysterious, disastrous COVID situation, how can leaders bring out the employees from depression, especially in corporate clubs maybe? How can we handle this? How can we handle corporate clubs actually in this kind of crisis, especially that people now are facing, probably losing their jobs, and it's a big challenge actually.
Well, corporate clubs are a challenge even in normal days, normal times. So it's the normal process. You need to support them, make sure that their needs are fulfilled from Toastmasters or international perspective. It's not possible, what we have been accustomed to in Toastmasters, that we are responsible for everyone and everything that happens within the clubs and so on. Unfortunately, corporate clubs are connected with corporations, and if they are affected, they are going to be affected also. What we can do is show them that we are there for them. If there is anything they need, that it is in our powers to do, we will be doing. And hope for the best. I mean, we cannot, again, it goes back to your question of whether I prioritize myself or I prioritize others, right? So you do whatever you can, and if nothing happens, then unfortunate. And that's a fact of life that we need to imbibe. Especially with membership, there 40% of our members go away every year. What we need to do is bring in more members and make sure that the current members are fulfilled. If they go away, they go away.
Do you expect the organization to modify its guidelines in terms of, the quota they do based taking into consideration the current COVID situation? Because the normal not resume soon. So do you expect any reforms or changes from the organization point of view?
Changes are always happening, and I don't know whether you've had this communication which had come up, I think three communications since the COVID had come out, and they are taking proactive steps. I'm not on the board of directors, so I cannot speculate whether anything else is coming or not, but I'm sure that the whole situation is being monitored very closely, and if there is a need and there can be anything that they can be doing to help members, I'm sure they will.
Thank you. What type of a leader who refuses to take a position but loves to interfere in the process?
I knew this question is coming up. It always comes up.
Oh, yes.
Again, they need to understand. They need to be aware of what are their roles and what are the roles of the others. And sometimes it needs to be done in a very assertive way. And I learned to say assertive, not aggressive. I would term it as aggressive, because if they do not understand and it's disrupting and all other means are exhausted, then someone needs to be assertive to them that it's being counterproductive. And probably this is something that we avoid doing, is confronting people. But there are some times that you need to confront them.
Absolutely. Another question here. Sometimes the ego of others would ignite the ego of other people around them. Do you agree or disagree with this?
Well, it depends how strong or how weak are those other people, aren't they? I would not let anyone's ego affect me. So it's not the fault of this person with ego, it's the fault of the person accepting to be influenced by this person with ego.
Do you have more time? I think our time is up.
Yeah, it's 20 minutes over. There's another 10 minutes. Yeah.
Another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So are there any other questions? Okay. How can leaders sustain their energy levels, especially at times like this when your own battery does not get time to recharge?
It's the 5 H's of leadership, isn't it? Attend to your head, fortify your heart, be healthy, remind yourself that humility is a bliss, and look for the purpose of happiness.
And meditate.
Yeah.
Meditate always.
It comes in health, by the way.
Yes. See, are there any other questions here? Somebody asked if you can please elaborate on the point, eliminate contentions. They didn't understand that point in one of the slides. If you can elaborate on that, please.
Yeah. So in very simple words, eliminate the negative vibes within the workplace, right? And yeah, it's eliminating the negativity, simply put. And there are many aspects that bring up negativity, but that's basically simply put.
Okay, thank you. If you can please elaborate on teamwork, particularly from a club execum level and within club culture. What is your definition of teamwork?
Teamwork in a club?
Execum level and within the club culture.
Right, so again, any team will need to have a common purpose. And if the understanding of the club ExCom is to fulfill the members' need through the DCP, it's very simple. So, you know, a lot of people ask questions to see if there is an optimum way of doing things. And the fact of the matter, and this is probably what I discuss in whenever I give talks on teams, is that there is no way that you can apply the same template from one place to another. But the principles are the same. So the principles of the teams is the same. But if you could tell me that this successful club, if applied to the other club, they will become successful, yes, on a general level, but within dynamics and details, it's not going to work unless you understand what needs to be done within the club level.
Absolutely. There's another question here. Sometimes you have leaders who are extremely passionate and they have high expectations from the people around them. And then they're confronted with the fact that they're not the case and they're a bit, you know, disappointed. So how do we motivate others to manage expectations?
going back to the purpose. What's our purpose? And if we always set district success plans, and unfortunately, probably in other districts, this is done in remote to the divisions and areas. While if we have a district success plan, which is put out right in the beginning and has the buy-in of all the units from division to area to even clubs, then it's going to be easy. So it's a lot of emphasis goes into the first stages of any team that comes into play for achieving goals. The beginning is the most important thing. And then to follow it through, you need to have continuous communication and continuous revision of results.
Thank you. There's another question here that you mentioned that you have to be assertive but not aggressive to be a leader. Can you give an example?
Whenever, for instance, someone is not doing their job in the way that would fulfill their roles, being assertive means that you go to them and you remind them and review with them what are the difficulties, and at the end make them understand that they have taken up a responsibility and they should be able to fulfill them, and then ask them whether they can or not. Being aggressive means you go to them and say, if you do not do this, you are out. There's a difference, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
But I would do the aggressive way if everything else fails, by the way.
I fully agree. Another question, the last question, which has nothing to do with the session, it's from past district governor, DTM Nazir Al-Qasim. He said you were a champion of humor. When are you going to compete again in humorous speeches?
When I compete against him, he will compete.
Thank you so much, DTM Murad, for such a wonderful session and for handling almost all of the questions that we had this afternoon. It's always a pleasure listening to you and learning from your wisdom and your vast experience over the years of leadership. Thank you so much. And with this, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I would like to hand over to DTM Harish to take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Rania. It's a given that we only learn from personalities like DTM Murad. One thing I learned from him about leadership in person, which I think he didn't cover in detail, is humility. And I had this rare chance to experience it when I had invited him for an open session at SB Jain College. Thank you, DTM Murad. As expected, it was indeed a wonderful session with leadership insights and very specific takeaways. Let's give a round of applause to our personal pride, DTM Murad. Again, the Q&A was moderated by another star who have been very familiar face, as you know, flying down every hour from Amman for many club meetings. She is our District 105 PR Manager and the CGD Elect 2021. Let's also give her a round of applause for conducting this very well. DTM Rania Abdul Rab. Yes, we all had a great session, and now as your host for the afternoon, I would like to sign off and hand over the stage to Division B Director DTM Vinod for a vote of thanks. Over to you, Vinod.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Harish, our Division B Director-elect, and what a session. Each time I hear DTM Murad, I always take notes and I apply at least one thing. And I feel proud for one decision that I made was I had a plan that I should make the CGD the facilitator. And Rania, I had requested her to be the facilitator. Now she has got, DTM Murad very clearly told 40% of people leave organization every year. So she already has her target. She has to make sure that less than 40% leave and other people stay. And thank you very much, DTM Murad. Means I can't thank you enough. DTM Murad was supposed to be our international contest chair for the physical contest. And I had booked him long back. And I was very sure if I am the division director, our team needs you as an international contest chair. But we could not do that. But I am so glad that you are here. And most of the elect division directors are present today. That is the most satisfying thing because that was mainly the session was mainly targeted towards the new leaders, the new area directors, the new club leaders, and the new division directors, and especially the district trio. And Region 11 advisor DTM Sunil, immediate past district director DTM Balaji, the trio, the current trio, the elect trio, all the division directors, most of them are present here today. So on behalf of the current team, our superwoman PQD Sharon, Sri Walson, and Robert Devota, myself, and all my 4 area directors, Samir GP, Shakil, Dr. Abdul Sattar, Harish Krishnan, and the new team also. A big thanks, sir, from the bottom of my heart. And I believe each and every one will take home something today. And DTM Robin, for you, I have one message that I did not just hand over it to Harish to make sure that my job is done. June 30 till 12 midnight, I will be working. And after that day, I will be passed. That would be immediate past division director. And we have more things lined up, but that will be shared by our elect division director in the next meeting. So thank you very much. Officially, the meeting is adjourned. People who want to stay back and have a chit chat are most welcome. So I declare this meeting closed. Thank you very much, everyone. We can have a photo session if you can just take the photos. Sharon?
Sure.
My superwoman?
Yes, I will do that now. So I request everyone to please switch on your videos. For whomever I had to switch off, let me try and switch it on for you. I hope. Okay, give me your best smile. Yes. And I'll unmute everybody. Please make sure that you don't make a lot of noise. Unmute all. Yes.
DTM Murad,
your picture was
smile.
Sharon, show your face.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Super club, you know.
Sorry, there is red in color. Change. Yes. Okay, there you go.
Did I?
Good evening, all. Take care.
Good evening.
Yes.
Oh, Tia is there.
Done, Sharon?
Yes.
For a second.
Okay.
Yes.
Very much. We can have a chit chat. Thank you very much for joining, everyone.
Thank you.
If anybody has any feedback, please feel free to share, because we had a lot of people from different districts. And District Director Robin is still there. Robin, any feedback?
I think it was, so absorbing. I was just listening as DTM Murad said, for a change, I was trying to only listen. So really enjoyed that. And I'm getting used to listening now because, in short time, I will be doing that more. So getting used to it.
Big B, DTM Balaji.
Yeah.
Sir,
lovely session, and Robin must be thinking that he wants to become district director again. after listening to this session, probably things which we had not done, we can do that when we become the district director the second time, if we wish to.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir. DTM Sunil.
Mohammed, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. DTM Sunil?
I think. On mute.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much for this
Thank you
wonderful
very much.
session.
Thank you, Rania.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you so
Please
much.
share the
Yeah.
recording.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so
Bye,
much.
Sudha.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
And
Shad.
good luck.
I'm signing off.
Bye. Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye, Ribrani. Let me stop recording.